Are you guys going to the birthday party? The one towards the end of May, the birthday party. What? You don't know? It's Queen Victoria's birthday. That's right. Queen Victoria's birthday falls on the Monday preceding May 25th, which means that we get an extra Monday off in the month of May. And a lot of times, people go camping, enjoy the wilderness, and get out of town on the May 2-4 weekend. And since a lot of us are staying put this long weekend, I thought I would invite you to come camping with me. But here's the deal, because I have a secret to tell. I've never been camping. Yeah, really. But a wise man once said, just because you've never done something doesn't mean you don't know how to do it. My brother said that to me once. So I grabbed some tips from some camping friends of mine, and let's go on a little adventure. Now, because I have such limited experience camping, and I'm fine to admit that, I decided I would reach out to some of my good friends and say, what on earth do you do when you're camping? Now, my friend Krista, who has 2 lovely little girls, told me that when you're camping, you should go on a bit of a treasure hunt. And I said, treasure? How could I not? Now, we're not talking about actual treasure, but treasures that you find in nature. And those kinds of treasures you can find all over the place. So let's go on a treasure hunt. Now, the first thing that I found is a huge tree, and it's been knocked down. And I imagine it probably took a lot of force from a heavy wind to knock this tree down. But then I began to wonder, there's a lot of other trees about the same size around here, so why didn't they get knocked down? Let's investigate. Well, the bottom of this tree looks like it's been split right down near the trunk. That's what we call the bottom of the tree. But if we look extra closely, it looks like something may have been munching. So here I've got a chunk of the trunk of this tree, and when I picked it up, all kinds of dust fell out from underneath it. It's almost like sawdust from my workshop. And this piece of wood was super light, which means that it's been eaten away from the inside out. Now, the likelihood is that bugs burrowed their way into the center of the tree and began to eat and eat and eat until they ate away a lot of the inside of the tree, which made it weak and caused it to collapse in a strong, strong windstorm. Now, the way this tree fell down is now blocking my trail, and I'm sure somebody at some point will come and cut it, but onward we shall continue. So here I'm walking along, and I noticed this hole inside the tree. Now, the first thing I thought was, perhaps a hungry woodpecker was gnawing away at this guy trying to find some bugs. And I got a little bit closer, and here's what I found.
Well, at first, all I saw was a little head, and I actually thought it was a snake. But then I got a little bit closer and realized that it was a tiny frog. And I have absolutely no idea how he got up there or what he was doing, but I bet he was enjoying the view.
Now, my mom always said I was a lot like this fungus and that I was a real fungi. And if you've ever seen a mushroom, well, then you've seen fungus before. Because some fungus we eat, and other fungus grow on the ground, grow on trees, and can be found in all kinds of places throughout the forest. Well, I was cruising along and I saw all of these pretty white flowers, and in fact, these are the official flower of the province of Ontario, the Great White Trillium. And they were adopted as Ontario's official flower in 1937. These flowers also go by the name of wake robins and the white lily. Oh, hi! So as I was wandering along, I found this super cool fort that somebody else has built, and I definitely had to check it out. And it's always great to remember that if you do find something that looks really cool, but you're just not sure about it, maybe just look at it from afar. And as neat as this is, it's kind of freaking me out. I think maybe spiders live in here. I don't like spiders, so let's go. Hey, friend. Now, this tree has got a little extra junk in its trunk, and all this kind of craggly circular pattern right here in the wood is actually called a knot. No, not a knot. A knot! Knots are imperfections in the wood and can often cause these bulging circular patterns, especially when the wood is cut open. And now as we move along, I promise I will not mention this again. Well, thanks to my friend Krista and her 2 little chicklets on letting me know what kind of adventures I can find in the woods. Now it's time to set up camp. And for that, I asked my friend Nadia, how on earth am I gonna set up a tent if I don't even own a tent? And she said, Mr. Sad, it's simple. She told me that all I need is a rope and a bed sheet, and ask permission before I bring both of those things outside. Thanks for believing in me. And with that, I'd like to welcome you to my camp. Alright, so now that we've got our camp set up, and I gotta admit, this camp is pretty sweet. Now let's talk about some of the things you might do while you're camping. The first thing I always want to suggest is anywhere you go, you should always let an adult know where you're off to, even if you're going with somebody else. And with that said, maybe you bring a ball and your glove and you can play catch. Or catch up on a good book and do some reading. Or how about a deck of cards and you could play some card games. Do you have any sevens? No? Go fish. Or if there's water nearby, you could even go for a swim. Speaking of water, I'm so thirsty. Ugh, awkward. And after a long day of activities, there's nothing better than gathering around the campfire for s'mores. If only I had a campfire. And what ultimate camping experience wouldn't be complete with the one thing that makes camping camping? A campfire. And it's gonna be lit. As absolutely wonderful as a campfire is, it is not something that you ever want to do without an adult. So let's get started. So now that I've got all my wood ready for my fire, the last thing that I need is a bucket of water close by, because in case of an emergency, I want to be able to put out my fire quickly and efficiently. All right, and now that we've got the fire going, there's one more thing that I think we need. S'mores. And why do they call them s'mores, you might ask? Because after you've had one, all you want is s'more. Now, there's all kinds of different recipes out there, but the classic s'more consists of 3 main ingredients: graham crackers, marshmallows, and last but not least, sweet, sweet chocolate. Now, generally you want to use a long stick or some kind of a skewer to be able to get your marshmallow close enough to the fire, but not getting your hands too warm at the same time. Today, I'm going to be using a stick for shish kebab, but you may want to use something a little bit longer. Now, I like to get my graham cracker and my chocolate ready before I toast my marshmallow, so that when my marshmallow is ready, so will my chocolate and graham cracker. Graham cracker, chocolate, marshmallow. Oh, I think it's ready. Graham cracker, chocolate, and graham cracker, and smooth. And now we eat. Wow, what a delicious treat. And not something that you have on a regular everyday basis, which makes it so much sweeter. I think I'm gonna finish this one off, and it might be time for some more. Man, it is pretty cool in here. I bet I could sleep in here if I wanted to. Hey, thanks for joining me on my first camping adventure today. And you know what? I am Mr. Sad, and you definitely make me one happy camper by hitting that subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Man, what is a street sweeper doing in the middle of the forest? Ridiculous.